Have you ever thought about doing a 1031? If so, stay tuned for some more details on what a 1031 is and some thoughts on if you should do one. When you're thinking about real estate every day, you oftentimes take for granted some of the vernacular. And so when I was recently asked what a 1031 was, I thought it would be a good opportunity to actually make a video on it. Simply put, a 1031 is a tax break. It's part of the tax code that allows you to defer the payment of capital gain taxes on an investment property and to move those funds, to reinvest those funds into a new property or new properties. Now, there's a couple parameters here. The first is that the new property or multiple properties that you purchase need to be at or greater than the sales price of the property that you're pulling the funds from. And number two, there are some time constraints on this process. Typically, you have 45 days to identify any properties that you'd like to 1031 into. And then beyond that, you have 180 days to actually close on the property. Now, this sounds complicated, but it's really not that complicated. And there's also a lot of companies out there that will help you in this process. Here's something interesting. Now, based on current tax code, you can actually 1031 forever. Now, not that any of us want to die, but in this situation, when you do die, your heirs actually receive the property with the stepped up basis. Essentially, all of those gains disappear at your death and your heirs inherit the property with zero capital gains. Meaning that 1031s aren't just good for deferring taxes, but they're also a great estate planning tool. Furthermore, they can also encourage you to grow your real estate investing portfolio by transitioning out of some of those smaller properties into larger ones. So should you always do a 1031? And the answer is no, you shouldn't always do one. It really depends on your goals and your objectives. As an example, I currently am looking to 1031 4 properties that I own in Michigan. Now, 3 of them I've owned for a while and have significant equity in. And so I'm looking to 1031 the money from those properties so that I can defer capital gains. The 4th one I just bought last year. I've been renovating it, and really the only reason I'm selling it is because I'm looking to sell everything as a portfolio. It's 14 units across 4 properties. To me, that's more attractive, and so I'm selling it as a bundle. But the benefit then is that I get that money back out in cash because I'm not 1031ing it, and therefore the properties that I've identified to transfer into, I then have funds to use as a down payment via the 1031 exchange, but I've also got some funds for the renovations that I want to do on that one property that I'm not going to 1031. It's providing me with the cash to then fuel the reno and to furnish those properties because I'll be creating those as short-term rentals. Now, this is just one scenario of many, but there could be other situations where you don't 1031 a property. It could be first and foremost that you simply just want to get your money back out. Okay, maybe you bought the property, you've gotten a lot of appreciation, and you want to get that equity and you're fine paying the taxes on it. Another situation would be that you want to move the funds overseas. Now, if you're looking to invest overseas in real estate or something else, you cannot 1031 from a US property into a property overseas. And so you need to first sell that property, pay the capital gains on that money, and then you can take those proceeds, that equity, that growth, and then transfer it overseas. So there's many different options that you can consider, and the reality is it comes down to what works best for you. Hopefully these ideas and thoughts get your wheels turning around the benefits of a 1031 exchange and how they could benefit you. Now, I say could because this is not legal advice. I'm not a lawyer, nor am I an accountant. So definitely reach out to those folks to see if it makes sense for your specific situation. All right, that's it for this episode. If you like this episode, definitely give it a thumbs up, and it really helps my channel grow if you subscribe. If you want to stay up to date on the latest content, then I really appreciate you hitting that subscription button and helping me out. We'll see you next time.